What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Outdoors and Horsepower 101. I hope you guys enjoyed the last video with the hash. I know it's not the most appealing looking food you can eat, but if you've never had it, I highly recommend it. At least go to a barbecue joint, get you some, try it. One of your better barbecue joints. Don't go to a low rated one because they don't make good hash. Go to one that's got a highly rated hash, go try it. See if it's something you like. I guarantee most of you who looked at it and didn't think it looked appealing would actually love to eat it. I've got another recipe for you guys today. I know I'm a little bit early, but I had some turkey legs in the freezer. And if you guys do want to get like a free range bird or an organic bird, a lot of stores have you pre-order those. The ones you get like in the grocery stores, I do not recommend. Those are going to be injected with water to help retain moisture. Just not the better bird to get. I would go to a meat shop, pre-order one. Those are the better birds. Joyce Farms is one that we've used a lot. I believe these legs are actually from Joyce Farms. So I'm going to run through and explain to you guys how to smoke it. I've only got the legs. Everybody's been to, Lord. A lot of people have been to Disney World, Disneyland, and got the smoked turkey legs. It's kind of a staple in America, smoked turkey legs. One thing about turkey legs is it's not like a chicken leg, so you can't just get into it and tear the whole thing down. There's a lot of tendons and stuff in that turkey leg. So that's why it's almost better to kind of slow smoke them. Try and break down that stuff and get the meat as soft and tender as possible. You're using a brine when you're smoking something. That's going to give more flavor to your meat and dry out that skin, allow that smoke to adhere and get your skin crispy. A lot of people fry them. I think smoking is a great option. You get that great smoky flavor that people love without the risk of burning down your house with frying it. So I'm going to walk through how to make the brine. I've already had my turkey legs brining overnight, so I'm going to throw those on the smoker and walk you guys through that whole process. So if you wanted to smoke a whole bird or some legs or some wings, you'd be able to do that. Kobu decided he wanted to be on camera for a second. Come on, come on, good boy. So with no further ado, I'm going to take you guys into the kitchen and start that process of showing you how to make the brine. When you brine something, you're going to brine it overnight, so that's something you're going to do the day before if you're wanting to smoke a bird or your legs. I know the four-wheeler racing has slowed down a little bit. We decided the next race to race the Raptor, which is clearly the fastest that we think is going to win. We're going to take the Brute Force 750 and race it against the KFX 700 and see who the winner of that one is. And I think that's actually going to be a surprising race to you guys. What has slowed that down is the KFX has run over a nail at some point, flattened the tire. We had to get it plugged and stuff, so that one was kind of out of commission for about a week or so. We're going to try and bring you that race. Like, comment, subscribe. Go ahead and comment below or who you think is going to win that race. Hopefully we'll be able to shoot a pumpkin today. I don't know if my brother wants to go hunting tonight. We've been getting a lot of pictures of some big deer. A cold front came through. It's kind of pushing its way out now, but when that cold front came through, it got deer on their feet. And I've been looking at processor pictures. They are wearing out the whitetail in the upstate of South Carolina once that cold front came in. So we haven't been doing as much shooting, just to, keep the deer a little more calm and more willing to come out during daylight. Still planning on shooting one today though. So stay tuned in this episode to see what gun we're going to use, if we are able to do that. But regardless, let's go learn how to smoke some turkey legs. So I told you guys I'd give you a walkthrough on the brine. I made it last night, late, getting the idea for this video. Didn't video the making of the brine last night. And I've got some ingredients already out. I don't want to actually cook another brine and waste these ingredients. Never want to waste anything in life. Try to get the best use out of anything you could ever use. There's pretty much a basic brine that everybody's going to use, and that'll be your first 3 bowls. It's just basic. You use this, it's going to work. And then from there on, people kind of like to step it up with some other ingredients. But a basic brine is going to be water, peppercorns, dark brown sugar, and salt. Now you want to use kosher salt. This is not in this bowl. I ran out of kosher salt last night making the brine. This is just iodized salt. Kosher salt has no iodine in it. So it's going to give your brine a little less saltiness, but still give you the salinity you're looking for. Iodized salt's going to be pretty strong, so if a recipe is calling for kosher salt and you're using iodized, maybe use a little bit less of the iodized than it calls for with the kosher salt. That'll equal out the salinity you're looking for. And the reason you want these for smoking anything is you lose a lot of moisture when it sits out there and it smokes that long time. This is going to add moisture. The salt's going to dry off the skin and the meat, which is going to make smoke adhere to it better and make the skin actually get crispy and not rubbery while you're smoking it. Make sure you are smoking it at a higher temperature. I'm going to do mine at 275 degrees. And it also just adds flavor to the meat. When it soaks in this mixture overnight, that salinity and your seasonings will kind of soak into that meat. So when you're eating that meat, you'll taste that brine in there. You can definitely tell a difference between an unbrined and a brined bird. So this is your base: water, peppercorns, brown sugar, kosher salt. This recipe here is for legs. This is if you're doing a bird, you want to do close to a gallon of water. I've halved this. So we'll talk about the water in a second. The next ingredients that I like to add a little flavor, I add a few red chili pepper flakes, I add some garlic powder, and I add some onion powder. Those are the other seasonings I add to the base of the water with the peppercorns, salt, and sugar. With the peppercorns, you can use regular black peppercorns. I like to use a peppercorn melody, I think they call it. It's got white, pink, red, green, black peppercorn seeds, as well as coriander. I think coriander adds a nice flavor to the brines. So like I said, I'm not going to actually cook the brines. I don't want to waste these ingredients. I can just add these back to the containers that they came from. But let's start talking about how we get started. So when you get started, like I said, this is for a gallon recipe that was halved. So I'm going to start with 4 quarts of water total. That's all you're going to use, 4 quarts. I've got 2 quarts here. The first thing I would do is get that to close to a boil on the stove. Once I got that to a boil on the stove, I'm going to add all my ingredients. This is about 1.5 tablespoons of peppercorns. That's probably around a 1/2 cup of sugar, around a 1/2 cup of salt. Do a tablespoon or so of the pepper flakes, the onion powder, or the garlic powder and the onion powder. But don't add it until you get to a boil. Once that gets to a boil, add your seasonings, stir that, let it cook for about 5 minutes or so after you've turned it down to a simmer. And then once you've taken that off the reason you're heating it up is to get that mixture blended well, make a solution, get the salt, the sugar as well mixed into that water as you can. You want it to all be one solution. So once you've added those and you've cooked it for about 4 or 5 minutes, you've got the other 2 quarts of water. I told you I was going to use 4 quarts total. So I filled this up to 3 cups, which is, almost 2 quarts. And I'm going to add a cup of ice to this for the other cup of water to help cool down that solution. So once you've already heated up this water, you're going to want to put this in the fridge. I forgot to mention that. The ice and the cold water, put it together, put it in the fridge, keep it very cold. After you've cooked that for 5 minutes or so, pour that into a safe bowl, go in the fridge, get your ice cold water and your ice cubes, add that to that hot solution, and that'll start to bring the temperature down. You want it close to 40 degrees before you submerge your turkey legs in there. Sometimes that takes 10-15 minutes or so for it to cool down. Once it's done, you'll take your turkey legs, get a pan, submerge your turkey legs in that brine. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to pull them out the fridge and show you what they look like after brining overnight. So I forgot to explain why you want it to brine overnight. That's the preferable length of time for it to fully get that soaked into the meat, get the skin dried out. This is not a 2-hour process. You can maybe try it for a short period of time. You're gonna get your best results if you just go ahead and let that brine overnight. So that's what I recommend. You want that longer brine time, 8 hours or so, and that'll get those perfect. You don't want to over brine it. If you brine it for like 3 nights, it's going to really soak up that, and it's going to be very salty. So I would just stick with 8 hours or so. I think that's perfect. You're able to make it the night before, cook it the next day. I would stick with that process. So this is what they look like after brining overnight. You can see the color of the meats change a little bit. The skin looks a little drier. That's that salinity drawing the moisture out. You can smell the garlic and the onion powder coming out of it as soon as you open the pan. It actually smells delicious. You see the peppercorns. So that's what you want to look for right there. You can see once you've cooked it down and made your brine, it will be this darker color. It won't be a clear solution. That brown sugar darkens it up, gives it that color. So we're going to go turn the smoker on. Again, I said I'll smoke these at 275. That's a higher temperature. You don't want to smoke them any higher than that, because I really want to crisp that skin up. Nobody wants rubbery skin on their smoked turkey leg. So that's one reason we brine it, and that's one reason we smoke it at a higher temperature. Let's go turn the smoker on. I think I'm going to use hickory chips. That's just what I've got on hand. You can use whatever chips you want. A lot of people like a sweeter wood, like cherry or something. If you did an apple cider brine, that's a recipe you guys can go find on Google. I don't really use that one, but if you use an apple cider brine, you definitely want to use either apple or cherry, a sweeter wood. You can use whatever you like. This is all personal preference when it comes to smoking flavors with wood. So I'm going to go turn that smoker on to 275, let that heat up, get that smoke rolling. We're going to smack them on there. So I completely forgot to tell you guys to season it. Season it very well with a good barbecue seasoning you like. Most people use a barbecue style rub. I used a rib rack barbecue rub. I've been using this on a lot of stuff. I really like this stuff. I didn't show me putting it on the smoker because my smoker is extremely dirty. It's like over 10 years old. It's a cabinet smoker. I was a little embarrassed. So I promise I'll get it clean next time and show me actually putting it on the smoker, but that's not really that hard. A lot of people know how to turn the smoker on, set the temperature in your time, and then put a probe in it. So I recommend keeping a probe in it the entire cook. That way you don't overcook it past 165 degrees. That's the internal you're looking for. It's okay to pull it at 162. A lot of people do to try and keep a little bit of extra moisture in it, because it'll eventually cook up to that 165 just resting. I'm gonna open one of these up, show it to you, and show you how it came out. So I'm gonna open one of these up and show you what you're looking for. Just like you used to see at the fair. So like I said, these things are full of cartilage and stuff, so it's hard to just eat through it like a chicken wing or a chicken leg. It's completely different. So I'm actually gonna pull these and make tacos. I don't have a lot of ingredients in the fridge to make some crazy tacos. I'd love to put some avocado, corn salsa, all that on there. I just don't have the ingredients to make that. I would show you. And the real reason for this video is just to show you how to get your legs or a whole bird brined, and then temperatures and stuff to smoke them at, and color you're looking for once it's done. I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching. All right, so here's that bullet I was talking about. That's that all copper Barnes. This is my favorite hunting bullet. This is the tip triple shot. I believe on the box it'll say TSX bullet. Very good penetration. You're going to get an exit because this all copper retains almost all of its weight, so it doesn't completely mushroom and like smush up really bad. Only the top part of that boat tail bullet is going to kind of roll down, and then it kind of spirals through and makes a nice exit hole. Let's get shooting at that pumpkin. Go check it out. So it actually made quite a nice entrance there on that pumpkin. Blew a big chunk off of it, and that's one of the bigger entrance holes we've actually got now, that little 7mm bullet. And come around back.
pretty stinking good exit. Not quite as big as that 308, about the same as that 270, but again, this is just trying to show good ammunition, good cartridges for ethical whitetail kills, what I'm pretty much doing these pumpkin shots for. Nothing wrong with that right there. Extremely accurate bullet, extremely good penetration with these tip triple shocks, and that's going to take a deer down every time, especially if you're hitting in the vitals. No small entrance, no small exit. Impressive cartridge. Get yourself a 7mm-08 if you've never had one for whitetail. I promise you won't be disappointed. But that'll be it on this episode, guys. I hope you learned at least a little bit of something about how to smoke some turkey. That's coming up in a month or so, so y'all go ahead and pre-order those birds. Stay tuned for the KFX and the brute force race and what gun we're going to shoot next. Have a good night, guys.